Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party, and Rhett is out in the living room because it is Thursday, the 27th of August. And apparently, there's 31 days in August. This whole time I've been saying there's only 3 days left in the month, but there's actually 4 days left in the month. Yeah. So August and then September only has 30 days. And then October has 31 days. And then November has 30. December has 31. And the way I learned to remember that is I think you hold your fists together like this and then like you count your knuckles and then I think the big knuckles are January, February is the indentation, so that is shorter month. It's 28 days, sometimes 29. And then March, that's the middle knuckle and that is 31 days. And then April is 30 and that's a good way to remember it on our solar calendar that we operate on here in the United States. Apparently, that is not how the whole world works. There are places where they operate on other calendars, which is pretty cool. And then there are a lot of places apparently that operate on multiple calendars. And typically, when they operate on multiple calendars, one of them is focused on the moon, and one of them is focused on yeah, one of them is on the sun. So there's apparently it takes the Earth 365 days to go around the Earth, and so that's the solar calendar. And then there's the lunar calendars. But my understanding is it takes both. And then there's actually two lunar calendars, and they both take 27 days and some sort of change. Um, but to get around is different. One of them is how long it takes the sun to circumnavigate the Earth, and the other one is how long it takes, or when the sun comes in and out of full moon to, no moon, like so it seems pretty simple, but it's so much more complicated than it seems. Let's see, let's move this in a little bit. All right, so we got a bug. We think we have it figured out. Uh, Not only do we know where and all that, I think we have a fairly good explanation of why this thing is still building. Um, and basically, what's happening is that um, the ID is not getting set when we're in update mode, right? So that makes no sense. If you're just watching this for the first time, that would make absolutely no sense to you. Those would be words that would just be absolutely incoherent. But never fear. I always like digging in, um, breaking things down, um, rewriting the narrative on a daily basis, and trying to sort of figure out what is this thing going on here. Um, Console. All right. Um, so, oh well, it's raining. Okay, so if I go like this and I create a visualization, we will see that I have some data here that describes the entire application. Let me make this a little bigger. And we have this viz component, and our visualization has a reference, not to the actual viz component, but it knows the ID of the viz component. And then if I come into this, so I'm going to clear that. And then if I come over here into this view, same thing. And sometimes the viz component ID will swap around. Sometimes it'll be 11. I'm sure it's just a timing issue. And it's kind of good that it works even if it swaps around, because it shows that, I don't really have race conditions. I have things that are waiting for things to happen. All right, so we clear this and we hit update. And then we look over here and then 9, but if we look in our visualization, it says -1 when it should say 9. So that's what I mean when those original words I said that were completely incoherent were like saying that this for some reason doesn't get set in this situation. Took a long time to even figure it out, and we actually have some. So we have this came out because something wasn't being placed properly. Um, and the reason it wasn't being placed properly is because it didn't. I think it's because it didn't know, but I ended up writing some code to try to make it to where it places things properly. So that means that if I suspect that if I can get this correct, the ID to show up correct, then it will get placed properly when I go into this other view, because then whatever the animation system, I think, is the system that knows how to place visualizations. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think all of what the pre-existing placement code will then snap into place and start working. That means it's very important that I undo the new code that I wrote, which means that that stinks that I didn't do an earlier commit, because it sure would be nice if I didn't have 20 files to dig through to figure out where this new code is. It'd been nice if that was like I had 3 files that were committed, or that weren't committed. But anyways, that's neither here. That is water under the bridge. It's gone. Nothing I can do about it now. All right, so we did figure out that the reason these get placed is because anytime one of these views comes into power, into being, gets displayed, it automatically goes through and it makes this call. And then apparently in here, as a side effect, this set up DOM visualizations, or possibly in this thing. I believe this will actually place it properly. So um, so maybe this is what I'll probably end up needing to call this, which is what I found that I needed to call before, but it was in the service. Um, but that wasn't right. It looks like it needs to be in the layout. But the problem with this layout is if you look at this, you see that we just do like we print out all the app visualizations. So that, and in here, we actually get a reference to all the visualizations here. And if you go into, so that's custom layout. If you go into um, tabular layout, you'll see the exact same pattern, that we go through all our renderers and then we show all of our, oh, maybe I'm wrong. No, okay, we show all of our visualizations on this screen, right? So it can look through. But if you go to the app update layout view, layout, it does not work that way. The way it works in there is it actually brings in this app update layout viewer, which that changes everything, because instead of these visualizations being a child of the layout, it's actually a child of update layout viewer, which has all sorts of timing implications and things like that. Um, so we go into the app layout viewer, and there is where we have it. So it seems like this is where that should be. But the thing is we cannot be sure that I don't have uh, some sort of deep coupling to it being the parent in some way, shape, or form. Like there could be some code that just assumes that this is sitting in the visual layout, and that I just like wasn't really thinking, or maybe that was the only way to do it or whatever. So there's just no telling if other problems might start to show up because this is changed. And so it's important to keep that kind of thing in mind. But obviously, it's probably makes more sense, and it's just kind of a guess, but it's sort of a guess based on experience. Makes more sense to sort of handle it at the ground level. So the ground level in this case is the app layout viewer, as opposed to in these cases where it is the app layout instead of the viewer. Now, we split these up into viewer, tailbar, and editor, because this is just going to be way, way more complex as far as user interaction goes than these guys up there. So that is why it's important to sort of break these down so that this doesn't turn into just a big old pile of spaghetti code. At least that's my impression. Um, so I say handle, render, edit, change. Oh, okay. So this one is different too, because it is based on whether this number is greater than 1 or 0. And there was only going to be one, even though we need to send an array through, it's only going to be an array of one. And so hopefully it could just hook right into the existing plumbing and everything just starts working. But maybe not. There's just no telling. Um, so now we're saying, hey, if it's greater than 0, doing this, and I believe this code is just for now. We're going to delete this code when we're done. And I have this visualization items, which I'm guessing is at view children. So apparently there's actually a signals based way to do this as well. And I think that, um, but I don't think, I think we built this before the signals. I think we built this when we were in Angular like 17 and signals existed, but I think it was only like, it was a proposal. It wasn't finalized like they are now. But yesterday I was working with Vue Children in one of my other projects, and it was like, wait, why isn't this working? Because I was trying to do something along these lines, and it was like you can't pass in um, a signal. You had to pass in the actual values. So that was an interesting um, experience. All right, so that means that I do have some console logs to help me. And I think I have like a special kind of handler. Yeah, or a filter thing. So if I do this, I put an and in this filter. And that's like a really good example of something that um, I never really, I do it all the time. I like add these little things in here so that I can filter and, and see just ignore the noise. Um, and I've never really documented that anywhere. I really wasn't particularly aware that I was doing it. It's just something I started doing it and it just became like a thing. But so we have our component visualization, and I'm guessing that our component visualization has the ID and everything in it somehow. I don't even know. I don't even know how. But so we have this effect count. Component initialize is true. Old height, old width. Yeah, I don't know. I think somewhere in here there's an ID. Oh, st render ID, which is a actual um, signal. So we do have the render input ID. So I think that's probably what I need, but I don't know. But so we can, I think, get the actual component. Let's see. We know there's only one. Okay, so I should put a comment. Okay, so there's only one visualization because this is edit. And you're probably thinking to yourself, if you're like all the other developers, if you're like most developers I know, you're like, why do you need to put that there? It's obvious we're at edit. When I'm deep down coding and I'm highly focused and lasered in on something like this, I don't want to have to try to remember where I'm at. I want to be able to just read where I'm at. Um, because we code in patterns, so it's very easy once you've got the same pattern in hundreds of places that to kind of lose track of where you're at. Um, and honestly, I just think that I've been coding for like almost 30 or for 40 something years now, and since like 1979. And so just through experience, I've learned that I just like to be able to not have to be able to focus my thoughts as tightly as possible when I'm trying to code. And having to keep in mind that I'm in the add update layout viewer, which is part of update, which is also edit, is like a lot. It's a lot more than you think it is. But anyway, so there's only a visual because this is edit mode. So, and that is probably not always going to be the truth. The true. We may at some point want to have more than one in here so you can see how it looks with something else or something. Who knows? But I don't can't really quite wrap my mind around it. So we want to get a visualization items. Visualization items is does not exist. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my custom layout TypeScript and I'm going to find the visualization items. Is that right? This visualization items, which is the deal here. I cannot see where visualization items is. Go to definition. Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a view children query list. Oh, so we actually pass in the whole query list. That's right. Now I remember. That's cool. That actually makes life a lot easier. Maybe I need to go forward. Okay, so we have our visualization items. What's the other one? And I used to always return something from every function no matter what, just because it made like unit tests just look a lot cleaner. Okay. All right, so let's see if this fixes it, or do maybe I need to call that other class thing too. All right, so let's go to this view. Let's add one. This view. Let's update, and let's look in our. Let's get rid of our filter here. And I remember like the first time I like that just happened where I'm not getting and I'm like messing around and I realize, oh my gosh, I've got a filter on my console logs. Um, Doing that so many times. Okay, so viz component is still -1, which is very, very disappointing. For some reason, I thought in here is where it would get set up. All right, so let's just try that other thing. Just blindly try the other thing. This guy. Maybe I do need that one. I know I get very confused with that one right there. Okay, so we do not have the viz component class. So normally when I don't have something, there's like sort of this little, so there's this little bit of dread because I'm like, oh my gosh, what if I don't get this? What if it like interacts in some weird way? Um, Now this one's a little scary because I need to get a viz component service as well. So I need my class and my service. Hit save, that will break everything. And I'm going to come over here, and here's my class. Oh, and here's my service that I need. Boom. Now let's go back over here. Let's paste this in. I don't really like coding like this, like what I'm doing right now, mostly because like I like to really have a good grip on what I'm doing. Um, but this is one of those things where I'm just like, I just hope this works. Okay, so we need to import the viz component service. This is where you really want to pay attention. Make sure that it's getting what you want. Viz component. Sometimes if you, especially because people have a desire to kind of have the most like curt, like they don't want all this stuff to be like, what am I trying to say? Like I get in trouble. Like I would trouble's definitely overstating it, but I do get constantly get um I have to change code that I submit because I overname things because I my names are too long. That happens all the time. Um, and I forgot why I was mentioning that. Clear, And, oh, well, no, I still don't remember. All right, let's see. Okay, so I don't know. I thought that this would, I really thought this would. Okay, let's go back to the, and let's filter this. Let's click on that. Could have sworn it was in here. Let's see. Okay, so here we are. We have our visualization items. Then we step into this one here, and then step into this one. And I don't think that class thing will work anyways unless we do this. And now what this is going to do is it's going to go through my visualization items, and it looks like it's going to create a viz array. It's going to get a count, and then it's going to do this setup visualizations. And it passes a, oh, there's no visualization component. So that is our problem, is that for some reason, oh, and I think there is a set timeout on those other ones. My guess is that this is a like the DOM element doesn't exist yet. Um, because if we go to the other one, so if we go over here, yeah, see how this is inside of a set timeout. Oh Lord, this is how I end up um, sort of redoing the same mistake over and over again. Comma. I don't think we do a comma. Let's double check that real quick. More. Yeah, so we don't pass out. Oh, wait, wrong one. Pain in the butt. Yeah, we don't pass in a time. So I was looking for like a second argument that was the time. And now, so this is our block of code that we want. Basically, we want to give the, um, and I didn't know if this would be necessary now that I think about it in signals. The other ones are like waiting for things to get built out, but this is waiting for the signal. But like, let's see, hit save. So we just moved that into a timeout. Let's go back over here. Let's undo this debugger. Oh, wrong one. Let's go ahead and run that out. And add one. Update. Now, console. Remove our filter. Look at this last one. Why am I looking in? Where is my? Oh, my visualization's all the way up here. It's the right Was it the? Yeah, it's the visualization. Oh no, it's the renderer. Something seems so weird right now. All right, it is not the renderer. It is the visualization. It's supposed to have a component ID. Okay, good. So we do have the component ID. So now, let's see. Oh, wait, we don't know because that is where that one goes. We need to add a new one. Then we need to edit the second one. So it's not working. Because at this point, it should be putting it, wait, left to 200. Okay, that's weird. Did I update the right one? Look for new viz. This is where we set the left and top. See, it's weird because I think we're looking at the wrong visualization completely now. See, there's like 20 of them. Let's look at number 10. So I think this is the one we're supposed to, well, that says left to 200. 10, left visualization. T visualization. Okay, this is really weird because I thought the visualization is where we had the left and the top. So what happens if we go over here to this view? Oh, oh, interesting. Somehow we ended up with the top being here instead of left. What is going on? Okay, this is weird. Okay, I'm going to try it again. This is totally unexpected. Add, add. Oh, that's weird. So when we come over here, and then we come over to this, and then we come back to here. Oh, it's right. But okay, now this looks right. So left should be 200, but for some reason it's not getting set. Now it could be, let's see, if we look at, this could be a, with, see, I was thinking that, okay, so yeah, here, whatever, this should probably be 200. And it's saying it would ignore that anyways, even if I did it, even if it was 200. And that's because his position needs to be absolute. And for some reason, this is not. Maybe I can hit this, probably. Position absolute. And then for some reason, the 200. So we got all kinds of problems. Or did I? Oh, I changed it. I changed it to 200. So yeah, his position needs to be, this position needs to be absolute in this situation. Um, but only, probably only while we're in this mode. And then when we're in this mode, it needs to not be absolute, probably. I'm guessing, but in this mode, it needs to be absolute, but it's not even getting the right position set anyway. So we got to figure that out. So still bug hunting. Happy coding. Have a wonderful day. Bye.